Hey guys, welcome to the first installment of the Sick Tech Show. Today in this video we're going to be going over how to make your Windows 10 computer much faster. So I apologize in advance because this is probably going to be a long video, and the reason for that is because we're going to be covering pretty much everything that you need to know in order to make your computer much faster. So in total we have about 13 steps that we're going to be performing, and they're going to be going from the easiest down to the more harder, more difficult tasks. So without any further ado, let's get started. So our first step is going to be pretty obvious, but it'll help a lot, and that is uninstalling unused or unwanted programs. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and click Start, and then you're going to type in Control to open up your control panel. And then you're going to look for programs over here and then click uninstall a program. So here you're going to look through all the programs that are installed and pretty much uninstall everything that you don't use anymore. Or also, once you install their programs, sometimes they install toolbars and all that kind of junk. So just always give it a scan through and see what you can and cannot uninstall. So our next step here is going to be defragging and optimizing your hard drive. And to do that, you're just going to go ahead and click Start again, and then all you have to do is type in defrag. And it should be the first option that shows up. And this is built in with Windows. So you'll see here that it'll show you your list of hard drives, and the main two hard drives I use are the C drive, which is a solid state drive, and then also my hard disk drive. So you can't really defrag solid state drives, you more or less just optimize them. So all you do right here is click optimize, and you'll see that I did that about a couple days ago. So this is a lot more noticeable with hard disk drives. I have a 1 GB hard drive here, and if you want to defrag this, you just click optimize. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, it might take a little while. It could take upwards of about 20 minutes or so. Again, it depends on how fast your computer is and how many files you have. And I would recommend doing this process about at least once a month, or if you install a big program or move a lot of files around. And you'll notice that over time, if you keep doing this, your speed will definitely increase. All right, so the next step is going to be disabling startup programs. And to do that, you're going to click anywhere on the empty space of your taskbar and then click Task Manager. From here, we're going to go to the Startup tab, and you'll see a list of programs here. Probably for you, most of these will be enabled. What happens is every time that you start up your computer, these programs also like to start up. For instance, Adobe Creative Cloud. This is basically how you update Photoshop and all of those programs, and they take a lot of time with your system startup, and they will definitely slow down your computer when starting up. So the best thing to do is just sort by their status, and you'll see that I have pretty much everything disabled except for my antivirus. So I would recommend just looking through the list and disabling any programs that you don't use or don't need to start up with your computer, and that will help a lot. So the next step is going to be the only program that I strongly suggest that you download, and that is called CCleaner. If you don't already have it, you definitely need to get it because it offers a lot of tools, such as cleaning up unwanted cache files as well as fixing your registry, and we'll go through all this in just 1 second. CCleaner is a free download. The best part about it is when you install it, it doesn't install any other unwanted programs, and it's very easy and straightforward. So I'll leave a link in the description right to where you could download that. So once you have CCleaner open, the first tab you're going to be on is the Cleaner tab, and this is going to allow you to clear all your cache files, such as all your web browsers and all of that. I would also highly recommend that you scroll down here and then also enable what I have enabled, such as Windows error reporting and Windows file log files if that's not already enabled. And also at the bottom, Windows event logs and old prefetch data. You can also go over to the Applications tab, and you'll see that I have everything unchecked for Chrome because I don't want it deleting my history and all that. Also, scrolling down, you'll see a whole bunch of other options that you want to enable as well. And once you have everything clicked, what I would do is just click Run Cleaner. And if you're doing this for the first time, it may take a little while, upwards of a couple minutes. However, it says that I need to close Windows Explorer. I'm just going to click No on this for now. And then you'll see it removed about 746 megs, which is quite a lot considering that I just did this about a week ago. So I would recommend doing this about every month or so as well. The next tab on the side here is Registry, and this fixes your registry errors. So in this step, you want to make sure all are enabled. Just click Scan for Issues. And on your first run, it may take a couple minutes. However, I do this pretty frequently. So I only have a couple issues here. Just click Fix Issues and then click No to making a backup, and then fix all selected issues. So another great feature about CCleaner are the tools that it provides. And you'll see here the first tab is Uninstall, and again this will show you the list of all the programs that you have installed, but also it shows your Metro apps, which are the apps that were introduced in Windows 8, such as alarms and clocks. You also have Xbox Live, which I disabled. You have weather and all that. So go ahead and uninstall the programs that you don't use or don't need. Mainly, since we already covered this, you'll be looking for your Windows apps. And then next over here in the tabs, we have Startup, which is another more advanced startup manager. And I would actually recommend doing this over the previous steps. You'll see that I have Spotify, Steam, Adobe Creative Cloud, and all that disabled. The only thing I have enabled here is for my antivirus. You can also browse for your browser plugins here and disable them. And then you can look through the rest of the options and see if there's anything that applies to you. One thing that I do recommend is if you click Options and you go to Monitoring, that you disable monitoring, because you don't exactly need that, especially if you run this about once a month. It doesn't necessarily slow your computer down, but I don't like anything running in the background, so I would definitely suggest disabling the monitoring. So that covers it for CCleaner. So our next step is going to be cover basic Windows troubleshooting to see if Windows can find any issues with your operating system. And to do this, we're just going to click Start and then type Troubleshooting. It should be the first option that shows up under Control Panel. And in this list here, you're going to go down to the bottom option and click Run Maintenance Tasks. And here, just click Next. And then it's going to ask you for administrator rights. Just go ahead and click on this. And if any issues pop up, Windows will give you suggestions on how to fix them. For all the times that I've ran it, I never came across an issue. So if you don't either, you can just click Close Troubleshoot, and then we can move on to the next step, which will be checking your performance monitor. So again, we're going to go ahead and click Start. And then this time we're going to be typing in a command, and it's going to be performance monitor abbreviated /report. And then you'll see up at the top here, it says Run Command. Just go ahead, click that, or click Enter. And then you'll be presented with this box here. And it's going to be collecting data for about 60 seconds. So sometimes it takes a little longer. It could take a couple minutes. So I would just let this run and then come back. All right, so once this step is completed, it's going to bring up your diagnostic results. And you'll see here that I do have 2 errors, and that's because I have 2 device drivers that are disabled, which are my Ethernet drivers, since this computer is on the Wi-Fi only. But if you'll scroll down, more or less, you'll see this. If everything is passed, then you're pretty much good to go. But if you have anything failed, such as I do, you can just click the expand button, and it will bring you all the way down to exactly what you need to know. You can also scroll through this list and see such as software configuration and all that. And really, there's not much to see if everything is passed, but it can be very helpful if something does fail. If you do have a failure and you're not exactly sure how to fix it or what the issue may be, you can always Google search the error code, and that will always help. And for our next steps, this is going to be for your slower computers or computers that don't really have good graphics drivers. We're going to be disabling some visual effects. So to start off, you go all the way to the bottom left corner and then right click and then click System. From here, you're going to click Advanced System Settings. And then in this window here, you'll be on the Advanced tab. You can click under Performance, click Settings. And then this is where you can enable or disable some of your window settings, such as using drop shadows or enabling arrow peak. Additionally, what you can do is adjust for best performance, which will pretty much uncheck everything, or you can let Windows decide, which is selected by default. Or you can adjust for best appearance, which will give you pretty much everything enabled. I'm pretty satisfied where I'm at now, so I'm going to click Cancel. And we're going to move on to the next step, which will consist of disabling all Windows animations. And to do that, what we're going to do is click the Windows icon and then go into Settings. You'll be presented with this window over here, and we're going to click Ease of Access. And from here, we're going to go to Other Options, and then the first option here, Play Windows Animations, you can disable that if you have like a really slower older computer, or if you really want Windows to appear much snappier. For example, if I were to minimize this, it doesn't show any animation, the window just simply immediately disappears. I do kind of like that, so I'm going to leave that enabled. However, if you're having performance issues, that might be an option you want to consider. Another less intrusive option is to make the Windows Start menu opaque instead of transparent. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and click the settings icon again. And then we're going to go into personalization and then select colors on the tab on the left and then scroll down. And the first option here, make Start Task and Action Center transparent. If you disable that, you'll notice that you can't see the background through the taskbar at the bottom, and upon clicking Start, there is no transparency. And that will help a lot if you have a slower or older computer without a good graphics driver. And now our next step is going to be disabling unneeded services. This is going to be a little bit more complicated, but I'll make sure to walk you through it. Go ahead and click Start again, and then type in Services. Spelling it right will help. And it will be the first option. It'll look like this. And that will bring up a window that looks similar to this. And I'm going to give you guys a list of services that you can safely disable on Windows 10. I've had these services disabled for quite a long time, and I haven't had any issues at all. So the first service is going to be Connected User Experiences and Telemetry. You can go ahead and read through the description, but it's basically one of the background services that Windows 10 offers. So to disable this, all you have to do is right-click it, and then click Properties. And then under Startup Type, we're going to go ahead and disable this, and then click Apply and OK. So what I did was I compiled the list of services in Notepad over here that you can go ahead and pause the video and look through, and you can disable these if you want. One thing I will note is printer spooler. You might not want to disable this if you have a printer. You will obviously need that. And also Windows image acquisition, you'll need if you use a scanner. And if you use the Microsoft Maps application, you might want to leave this one enabled as well, but if you don't, go ahead and feel free to disable that. So again, feel free to pause the video here and come back when you're ready. So we will be moving on to the next step now, and we're going to be messing with some privacy settings. So again, click Start, click the settings icon, and go over to Privacy. And you're going to want to disable some of the options that they have here. For example, this first one, let apps use my advertising ID, also send Microsoft info, as well as typing information. You can disable all this. And this will disable some of the background services that Microsoft has because Microsoft does like to collect a lot of data on you. So I would definitely read through these and disable ones that you don't need or want. You don't necessarily have to turn off Smart Screen Filter. It doesn't really matter if you don't use Microsoft Edge or Internet Explorer. Under the tab on the left, you can then go into location, and if you don't use location for weather or for maps, I would turn this off. However, I do use the weather app that Windows provides, so I'm going to turn this back on. So I would go ahead and scroll through all these. For example, my computer doesn't have a camera, so I have this disabled. Another option is to go into speech, inking, and typing, and I have this option disabled. As you can see, it says Get to Know Me, and I have it turned off. So if you don't really use Cortana, I would recommend turning this feature off. And again, I would just recommend going through everything in this tab and making sure that everything's up to par of your standards for what you want Windows knowing about you. Another option here is Windows Feedback and Diagnostics. And I'm not very particularly happy about Windows knowing everything about me, so I'm going to go ahead and put this to never for when Windows wants to ask for my feedback, as well as sending data to Microsoft. And then finally, in the tab on the left, go to Background Apps. And then these are apps that are allowed to run in the background on your computer. So for example, I don't really need contact support or maps or messaging. I'm also not a big solitaire player, so I don't need this. So just go ahead and feel free to look through this and disable any service that you don't think that you'll really need. And this will free up a lot of your RAM as well as CPU cycles. So for example, again, if you don't use weather, go ahead and turn that off. And the final step to maintaining a clean and fast computer is by using Antivirus. And on this computer, I run two programs that are both free and that I do highly recommend because I've used them together for many, many years now. And the first one is Avast, which is free antivirus. I will leave links to this in the description as well as the second program, which is Malwarebytes, which we'll cover in a little bit. The best thing about Avast is it offers real-time protection and monitoring. It also runs dangerous programs in sandbox mode and allows you to do quick or full scans of your computer. The next app that I have here is Malwarebytes. And Malwarebytes does exactly what it sounds like. It searches for malware. It's not a full virus protection, and the free version doesn't offer any real-time protection. However, it does allow you to do a full system scan. So I would recommend running scans on these at least once every 2 months or so. And finally, in order to apply all the steps that we've did, go ahead and restart your computer. And once it starts up again, I guarantee it should be a whole lot faster. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope this helped. Go ahead and feel free to leave a comment down below if you have any questions or concerns. Again, hope this helped, and have a great day.